our next talk, which is going to be with me, and also is going to be with like Jurgen, and also Adam as well, from Ravensbourne University. Hi guys. So I'm gonna welcome. Just a little intro really, before we begin. I think all the students know who I am, but Jurgen, do you mind saying hello and just introducing yourself slightly, and then Adam as well, and then we'll begin.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Jurgen. I'm based in Hong Kong. It's quite late. It's a little bit late in the evening on a Friday here, but I've been working with the denim industry primarily in China for the last almost 8 years on digital project, primarily focused on 3D and simulation technologies, transparency and traceability, and kind of working with the supply side or supply chain on trying to enable a bit of digital change or just change in general by using digital tools and working in the digital space and with denim.
Amazing, thank you very much. And Adam, obviously, you know the students that are here, but for any students that are watching that don't know you, what's your speciality? And obviously, you're in this panel talk with us. So,
I teach at Ravensbourne, and I do 2D theory, and my specialty at this point is I do a fashion pathway, so it's digital design, 3D work. And what we're doing for the, for denim this year is we're trying to think about new ways that we can slot in, digital technologies that can improve efficiency, sustainability, and even give them exciting ways to market their pieces or bring them into social media, bring them to life online.
Amazing. Okay, super. I'm going to do a little video. It's only 2 minutes long, and I'm going to be talking over it. Hopefully, I won't completely balls this up. But a little bit about me, just so the students can know kind of things that I do really outside of teaching. So hopefully this is full screen. So off I go. I'm going to play it now. There's no sound, so I'm just going to make sure there's no sound just in case. So from my experience, there's lots of different types of 3D software, but the ones that I'm familiar with in the denim world is CLO and Maya. There's many more like Browseware, and there's many more others. But for me, you can't be a good 3D designer if you don't know about the basics of pattern cutting and also about how good design is. So for me, you still have to know those things. And obviously nowadays, students that I've met are being thrown straight into the 3D software, and their pattern cutting knowledge probably isn't at the same level as it was when I like graduated. But it doesn't matter. There's obviously lots of tools in place to help them, right? So Adam, would you agree? So it's like there's lots of tools now that are available to help students. But so there's a number of colleges that I teach at, and most popular one is most likely CLO that I've personally come across. And here's one of the examples. I did a project with Artistic Milliners where we made a range of denim garments. There wasn't enough budget to make the whole collection, so we decided to do it all on CLO as well. So in some ways, 3D technology has helped in my way to still carry on designing. I still get to develop the fabrics, but in the end, we do it now in 3D, and I get to make some samples. So in industry, that's how I've been using 3D design at the moment, and I've only been using 3D design probably for about 2 years or so. So I'm fairly new to it as well. So it's quite exciting for me, but it's cool in a way. I always find that some of the blocks that I've come across are too skinny. So I've been working with other designers to try and get the shapes to look like how they should be looking, because otherwise it's on a little skinny block or something. So even this shirt is an over shirt, so it's actually explaining it that it actually collapses. But the way I do it is actually I design the garment as normal, but then we like develop fabrics and we scan those fabrics in. And I know like Jurgen's going to go into more detail about how it can be much more better. But then the great thing is we still do washing treatments as normal, but we take really high resolution photographs and then we input that into CLO. So that's the way I'm currently designing. I know it's going to change again in the next year or so. This is a really amazing changing landscape I'm personally finding. So even Adam, would be great to hear your thoughts quite soon about where you think 3D design is really going. Obviously, I don't like models. I don't like those funny poses of people walking. I like it when it's just a presentation personally. But I know most of our students probably like it when the models are doing funny things or falling over or like God knows what. But there's some examples of what I'm doing. It's going to end quite soon, hopefully. But yeah, this is a collection I did for TENCEL, so Bath Recast collection. And it was awesome. I developed about 12 different fabrics. And of course, we did loads of different washing treatments. So in the end, there's about nearly 40 garments we had to do in CLO. And I've done another project quite recently, which is coming out next week. And it's actually a thread-based project. So this is actually with coats. It gets released next week at Kingpins. So you get a little sneak peek. So two parts of the website. One part is we did a CLO 3D design, and we have loads of base colors, and you have loads of different thread colors. So actually for a designer like me, you can go onto the website and you can check if which thread combinations work for which base color. Simple idea, but yeah, that's it really. So anyway, I'm gonna stop that for a second. Amazing. So we're back. So I'm gonna go straight over to Jurgen first. It'd be nice to hear your thoughts, Jurgen, about some of the things that you're working on. I know we spoke only a few weeks ago and it was an awesome presentation, but maybe you can update some of our students for some of the things that you think are going to be forecast in the future, because you're doing quite a lot of amazing development.
Yeah, no, happy to. Thank you for having me again. Well, so a lot of the work that we do is really related to, I think, what you've shown already. And I started working on kind of denim in 3D in 2017, so a few years ago. And a lot of the things that we ran into at the beginning had a lot to do with how do you create something in 3D, but you also get the chance to, it's not just scanning a whole garment or creating just a simple 3D model of a block of say a scanned garment, but also are you able to break this thing apart, and how can you adjust things, like you say, with either the seams or if there's a buttons or trims or anything that goes on, if you'd like to kind of replace things and simulate how that's going to go into production and how it's going to look like. So in that process, we then ran into a lot of, there's a lot of tools on the market, like you've already highlighted, which I think creates a lot of confusion. Yeah, there's a lot of different things. So, and that's what I work a lot with, is that confusion around which tools should we use for different things, and how do we kind of put tools together for the best possible workflow. And we work with fabric mills to give them the best possible kind of toolkit, and garment factories to give them the best possible toolkit. And one thing that we realized was, while we're creating, especially denim, the fabric, I think no one would really argue with me if I say that the fabric is, is the most important thing to begin with in denim. And there wasn't really a good tool to be able to digitize denim in a very easy and accessible way. I think I can share a little bit of this. We can share quickly my screen here again. So this was a little bit of trial and error, and trying kind of back and forth and making a lot of mistakes with breaking these garments apart and trying to build this workflow. We realized that we had to come up with a way to digitize denim fabrics in a really easy way. And there's some machinery on the market that you can buy for a lot of money, and you can buy these big scanners. But this is basically to the students and to anyone seeing this as well, is that you can basically create fully kind of 3D ready, industrial quality 3D ready materials with just a DSLR camera and a flash and a little sheet that you can print out yourself from our website. So that's kind of all the equipment you need. So it's almost considered household equipment, and you can use that to then create PBR materials that you can then bring directly into Clo 3D or Browseware or any tool that you're using. So this then led us into, we launched this in May this year. So this is also quite new to the denim industry, but the idea is to enable fabric mills and anyone out there that wants to create very high quality 3D fabric materials, or fabrics and 3D materials, but to do it on their own. So the service is kind of a turning physical denim fabrics into digital denim fabrics. And the idea is also to try to move this into the fabric mill, so that the fabric mill can digitize the fabrics all the way at the mill side, and so that all the designers and all the students and everyone can just have access to all denim fabrics in a digital format. So that was a lot driven, just kind of going quickly also here, that it was this, as I said, it was no easy and affordable way for designers and anyone to digitize fabrics. As we know, there's a lot of kind of cost and environmental impact of sampling and things that I think that there's a huge opportunity or potential to improve. And as I said, just to break it down again here, all you really need doesn't have to be a Sony camera, it could be a Canon, a Nikon, or a Sony or anything, but a DSLR camera, an external flash, and you can print these charts, and we can give them to you from our website in a PDF format, all the way from A5 to A1. So you can do huge scan areas. And that's basically it. You scan by shooting then 9 to 25 photos of a fabric, you upload that to our website, and then in 1 to 2 hours, then suddenly you have a PBR ready material, a 3D material that you can bring into your workflow. So I think we're all a bit familiar with and kind of see this going from fabric to garment to laundry. That is still what we're trying to do digitally, and to work around the traditional workflow of how denim is made, and how you kind of go from fabric to garment to laundry, and then to put together the tools in the best possible way that way. So I think we're all aware also of a lot of the challenges, but of course cost reduction is a big thing where I think digital is important, increasing speed, again, reducing environmental impact, a lot of the waste that goes into sampling and things that I think 3D can help reduce, and other things like access to information and transparency and traceability, I think is just more related to this as well. So If you'd like to, you can go to our website, and you can also get in touch with me for any questions or any questions after this, and you can download some free digital samples from our website if you want to just dive in and try this on your own.
Wow, that's awesome.
Oh.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I think the students should all do that. Adam, obviously you're closer to the ground to the students than any one of us. So what kind of softwares what kind of programs have you been encouraging students to try and learn? Obviously there's so many on the market. I know when I spoke to Zoe Broach at the RCA, I think it was 2 years ago, I asked her what software. She goes, Mohsin, there's like 15 different softwares. So, you know, that was 2 years ago. So what are you teaching your students, and what should we be knowing on the ground?
So I guess what we're looking at is obviously CLO 3D and Marvelous Designer, as we're taking a lot of those assets out to digital for presentation, social media, those sorts of things. But the other things that we're looking at are texturing programs. The entire Adobe Substance suite is something that we're pulling in this year. We're also looking at using Cinema 4D, Blender. Basically, the only constraints that I have at this point is there's not enough time to teach all of it. So it's like trying to cram all of this in, and then also having to do the other okay, well, this is the preset that you need to have for this file to edit out to here in the workflow. And so I mean, we're just trying to think of what's the way to get from that initial asset in CLO into the most realistic endpoint in the quickest, most efficient amount of time that doesn't cul-de-sac them into an area in which all they can use is Adobe Substance or or ZBrush. Basically, make sure that they have the same kind of functionality between them, and give them the option of if you want to create assets in Blender and pull that in as well, or you want to create scenes in there. And then the other thing that we're really thinking about is, at the end of the day, in any of these processes or any of these projects, it's not one person who's doing it all. So it's about collaboration, and we want to give them the opportunity that if there is somebody who can build a set better for you, and you're better at just focusing on the realism of that fabric or that garment, we'll have you do that. We want you to figure it out that way, because no creative team, no agency, really, nobody does it all themselves. They have their certain sections and aspects. So it's really trying to give them that broad approach that they can take into the projects that they want going forward.
Absolutely right. It's teamwork now. Even I've had to delegate a lot of my work out when it comes to 3D. I realized quite early on that I haven't got any time to learn all these different processes at the moment. So I've hired other younger designers to help me do my 3D work. Obviously, soon I'll definitely get to grips of it. But we have clients now. I've lost work because we don't do 3D. I remember there was a job that I nearly had, and I lost it because I didn't know CLO. So it's very important now. The younger designers, they really get clued up on all this newer type of tech, and this is very important. I think so. But still, learn pattern cutting, still learn illustration, but you do need to have your other like digital hat on too. Jürgen, anything you would like to comment on that at all? Anything you want to say about me?
Yeah, no, I think it's well, in terms of learning CLO, I think that's really, I don't come from a fashion background, or I don't know anything about pattern cutting really, other than that I've spent some time on factory floors and kind of big scales and these things. But I would definitely say that if there's one thing that I do see with a lot of people here in Hong Kong, or where I think that the industry is changing quite a lot, because Hong Kong is a big kind of textiles and fashion and garments and kind of trading port. And there's been a lot of merchandising and a lot of trade and sourcing work that has gone through Hong Kong. And Hong Kong is changing quite dramatically in that way, where a lot of people have had to reskill or upskill or have lost their jobs or these things. And I think that there's a lot of potential for people that if they can learn CLO 3D and they can start to design digitally, I think that there will be a huge demand in the market, or at least I foresee that there will be a huge demand in the market for people that knows CLO 3D and Browseware and understand how to well, exactly like Adam said, put these things together in the fastest and best possible kind of way, and make them as realistic as possible as well. So I think that that's quite of an important thing to consider before going out into the work life. That is a good skill to have.
You know what? You're absolutely right. My early career, I think 2 years after I graduated, I moved to Hong Kong. So yeah, I think if you're willing to do that jump, and not only did we love the experience and earn great money, we had a life experience. We were living this expat lifestyle. It was amazing, actually. So, you know, I would encourage any student, if they get an opportunity to go abroad, do it. Do it. It's the best thing ever. Best thing ever. Let's just see if there's any questions. We only got like 3 minutes left before the next segment. Everyone's just saying how interesting and great the actual presentation was. But you know, I couldn't agree more with Adam. There's not enough time, right, Adam? There's just clearly not enough time to learn all this new stuff, and it's a changing landscape. That's why, you know, I think CLO 3D is like definitely the standard now. But I'm surprised like Adobe and those other guys haven't come up with their own like competition version of it. I don't know. Maybe I'm not too clued up on it as much, but yeah, CLO 3D to me is probably the standard at the moment. But Browseware's not too far away, right? So Jürgen, not too far away.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I don't actually have the numbers on this, but from what I can tell from at least where I'm sitting, it seems to be the CLO 3D is the most popular kind of software to go to for designers. But then I would say in the industry with garment factories and fabric mills, and from what I've heard mostly is that Browseware supposedly or is said to be stronger on a more technical kind of tech pack level, and you can go more straightforward into production with what you have in 3D. Whereas CLO 3D is more is stronger in like the more realistic rendering, and probably also coming from the marvelous designer and the kind of the background that the CLO 3D is coming from as well. So they have different strengths and weaknesses in thinking that way, and that's of course important to take into consideration. But I would say, at least from where I'm working with in the supply chain, it's really important also to think about who you're connected to. And so when you go to production with things, it's important also to think about who what kind of software your garment manufacturer has, or what kind of software that your sourcing company or whoever you work with will be able to work with as well. Because I feel like it's also very much of a collaboration tool, or it can be very much of a collaboration tool where you can share files with each other and collaborate on a project and go from design to technical consideration on a very digital level.
Okay, I think that might be our segment up. Jürgen, thank you so much for joining us on your Friday night. You've given up your Friday evening for us in Hong Kong. You're not outside,
here.
Bar. You're at home. So I apologize for taking up your whole evening. And,
no, happy to be here.
For joining us. And Adam, thank you so much for your insights about what you're teaching on the ground. It's very interesting. I think we should have these catch-ups quite often, because it's a very changing landscape, and especially for students who are here and students that will watch this offline and whatever. It's important for them to understand the changing landscape of how we're presenting our work. So thank you to like both of you for joining me, and super. So we're gonna go on to our very next panel. Thanks.